A card that's caused a lot of confusing rulings this weekend is Momentary Blink, because it has some very odd timing involved with it, and it's kind of counterintuitive how when you cast it, things actually happen in a different way than you think they might. We have a level 3 judge, Russ Linneman, with us, and he's going to explain us exactly what happens in a bunch of these sticky situations. Hi, Russ.
Hi, John.
Okay, let me put down a couple of situations on the board and see if you can educate us on how this works.
Gladly. What's your first one?
Okay, I have a token in play, and you try to kill it with a lightning axe, and I decide I want to save it, so I momentary blink my token. Is it gone, or does it live?
Your token leaves play, and then it comes back to play as a new token. And so when the lightning axe goes to resolve, it's going to find that it was trying to target the original token, but that token's not there anymore. Your lightning axe is going to be countered, and your token will come back to play and will survive.
Okay, now this seems counterintuitive because everybody kind of learns that whenever a token switches zones, it leaves the game. Why isn't that the case here?
When a token leaves play as a state-based effect, which are the game's, basically the game's cleanup crew to fix situations that shouldn't exist, then that's what causes the token to leave play, or token to cease to exist. But those are only checked at a very specific time. Those are only checked right before a player would receive priority. And in this case, the token leaves play and comes back, all during the resolution of the exact same spell. And since players don't get priority in the middle of playing a spell, the cleanup crew, the state-based effects, don't actually get a chance to get rid of the token.
Okay, how about this? How about if I have an enchantment on my token, and same thing happens, but I want to save it because I really like this Ophidian Eye. Am I going to get to use the Ophidian Eye, or is that thing gone?
That thing's actually going to be gone. The same thing's going to happen. The token's going to leave play, then the token's going to come back. But because this is a new version of the token, the Ophidian Eye isn't attached to it. The Ophidian Eye is sitting here wondering where the original token went. And then when the state-based effects are checked, they see here's an enchantment, an aura, enchanting nothing, and it goes to the graveyard.
Is it different if I have a token on my token?
Because +1/+1 counter, it'll leave play, and when it leaves play and changes zones, it becomes a new object. It loses all memory of its previous existence, which includes that it had a counter on it. So it's going to come back normally without
Same situation.
Same situation
Okay.
as the enchantment.
This one actually came up today during the tournament, and it cost somebody a game because they didn't know the rule. On this side we have a Watcher Sliver that gives all sorts +0/+2. On the other side, a Plague Sliver, that's the 5/5 sliver. Watcher Sliver guy wants to kill Plague Sliver, so he casts Lightning Axe on it, doing 5 points of damage. It doesn't die because the Watcher Sliver is in play. So he takes his momentary blink and blinks out Watcher Sliver, believing that in fact it will cause the Plague Sliver to die. Does the Plague Sliver die, or does it live, and why?
The Plague Sliver actually lives, and this is similar to the last question. So once the Lightning Axe resolves, this guy has 5 damage on it, but he's a 5/7 creature. Now when this leaves play, for a very small amount of time, this is going to be a 5/5 with 5 damage on it. But because creatures with lethal damage are only killed as state-based effects, and as we've already determined, no player gets priority while the spell's resolving. Before another player would get priority, this guy's back in play. This guy is a 5/7 again, and so he'll never actually have lethal damage when state-based effects are checked, and he'll live.
And so because state-based effects are not checked, this doesn't work for poor Watcher Sliver guy.
Correct.
Okay.
He just wasted 2 cards and got absolutely nothing out of it.
All right, I cast Viscid Lemures on my opponent with Swamps, and I'm feeling very happy. He doesn't want that to happen, so he's going to Draining Welk my Viscid Lemures and hopefully get a big guy. Now, I don't want him getting a big 6/6 flyer, so I decide to, in response to the tokens going on to the Draining Welk, to Strangling Soot his Welk so it will die first. He still wants tokens on that Welk, so he decides to momentary blink the Welk out and comes back in, targeting Strangling Soot. What cards get countered, what cards fizzle, how many tokens on the Welk, and why?
Okay, the stack resolves in last in, first out order. And so once this comes into play, this ability triggers. Now he has to pick a spell to counter, and he's going to pick the Strangling Soot. So the first thing that's going to happen is this Strangling Soot is going to get countered, and the Draining Welk is going to get 3 counters on it. Then the next thing that resolves is we still have the trigger from when the previous Draining Welk came into play, and it still says to counter the Viscid Lemures. And it's going to do that. It's still going to counter the spell, But the other part of the effect, where it says to put X +1/+1 counters on the draining whelk, well, that doesn't do anything because that draining whelk has long left play. So the spells, the lemurs are also going to be countered, but the draining whelk, the new one, is actually only going to have 3 counters from when it countered the strangling soot.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Russ. I really appreciate your help.